G'day guys and welcome to the Centre Bounce for this review of the Geelong Cats versus Essendon Bombers pre-season practice game. It is a little bit different. I just finished watching it and I wanted to give you my first impressions fresh from it. I watched it all from minute 1 through to the end. Of course, I was still on my way home from work at the beginning, but I definitely watched it in times 2 speed at the beginning to catch up to it, and then was live for the whole second half. It was a good game. Definitely a lot more happy with my boys compared to what I was in the first game against St Kilda. There was obviously a lot of injury, I was going to say injury because there was an injury, unfortunately, to Jordan Ridley, who he came off. Laverty came on, and my word, the difference between the two of these players is the difference between heaven and hell. It is ridiculous. I want to send Jalen Laverty to China. Ni hao ma, Laverty, you suck. Please just, oh my God. It was tough to watch, to be completely honest. But so, yeah, Rids, unfortunately, he had a good game, but it is another quad injury, I'm afraid. They did say that it might even be a tear. So that's, could be missing at least 4 weeks, around 4 weeks with that. So anyone who was interested in Rids, unfortunately, he was a no-go. Wasn't really recommending him to begin with. But it was a good game, certainly, by the Bombers. We let slip a lot of opportunities early, some really simple set shots that we didn't capitalize on. But it wasn't really about the result. It was definitely about the way we went about it. And we can tell that we were sort of happy to play a chip mark game style, coming out of the back line, trying to, kickstart some run, get the ball out close to the 50-meter mark, and then feed a runner coming past. And very often it was, of course, my boy Nick Martin, who I've been absolutely raving about all preseason and why this guy needs to be in everybody's team. The kid's a superstar. Even when Ford kicked 2 goals, I'm telling you, it was the Nick Dacos role today. And that's what we've got him for. I know a lot of people are concerned about wing time, but I keep telling people we've recruited specific players in order to play that wing role. He is not that man. He drove a lot of it off halfback. And without Jordan Ridley, it just means even more kick-ins coming his way. So Nick Martin, the kid's a superstar. DP3, I'm not going to try and convince anyone else about this guy. I'm sort of... that's it. You know what I mean? Like, you watch him, you hear what I've said about him in the preseason, whether it be here on this channel, whether it be in DR, Supercoach with DR, in that video. On his channel, I went and did an Essendon preview, so you can have a look over there as well. I'm not gonna talk about him anymore. All I'll just say is he had a positive Supercoach to Dream team ratio. He had 34 disposals, 5 marks, only 1 tackle. He gave away 2 free kicks, kicked a goal, 4 clangers, but despite that, he still had 82% disposal efficiency. And that's what we've spoken about in terms of his ball use. He has improved it, and that was his biggest knock. If he could clean up the ball use a little bit, you'll start to see some more good scores coming out of Darcy Parish. So, loved his game. You would have heard me talk about Will Setterfield as well in that Essendon preview video. If you're looking at Ollie Wines, don't worry about him. Don't worry about Ollie Wines. Goat is a much better selection, I'll just say. Even when given the tagging role to play on Dangerfield, it just led him to the ball even more. Contested player, 11 contested possessions with 6 clearances. Most of his disposals are pretty good. So I was very happy with Goat's performance. He is a bit hit and miss when it comes to Essendon fans. I know some people don't have big raps for him because he's not a star, sexy type of player, but sometimes you need those grindy type of players. And I thought he played a really good game today. Goat, my boy, Andy McGrath, don't go anywhere near him. I know he scored 97, but his ball use is very suspect, very hit or miss. Very hit or miss. Don't go anywhere near him. Zach Merritt, the captain, the skipper, really was just playing, never left second gear, to be honest. He had some individual moments where he decided, all right, fine, I got to defend here. But all in all, this guy, he is going to be top 8. He's going to be a top 8 mid. I think you have to aim to get him into your side. at round 7 when our fixture opens up. And for that reason, I'm thinking I might just start Nick Dacos. I don't want too many players that I have to trade in the early part of the season when my cash gen hasn't really fully flourished. I think I'm going to start Nick Dacos because I think Zach Merritt getting into my team at round 7 is going to be really important for me. So Zach Merritt, keep a close eye on him, follow him. The guy, it's Zach Merritt. I mean, I don't have to say too much about him. Red Dog, we might see some more scoring from him with Ridley out as well. So him and Martin are both probably going to be the biggest benefactors from this Jordan Ridley injury. Still wouldn't go near him, to be honest. A bit up and down, but inconsistent. He had a decent game today. Zack Reid, my boy, I've been telling everybody, lock him on your bench. The guy's a gun. And if you have to field him, you can field him. I'm pretty clear, I think, and pretty obvious when it comes to players, even from the Essendon Bombers, who I love, obviously, to bits. But I'll tell you, don't pick this guy. Pick this guy. And I've been saying it all along that this kid is going to be an absolute freak for us, and love him to bits. And he showed us what he can do. He had some great marks, some great intercepts, some great spoils. Was really good at clean at ground level. For a big man, his kicking is also very impressive. 67 to 80 Supercoach, 15 disposals. He got 2 free kicks. He's a very smart operator. Didn't give away any free kicks because he's not going to be involved in wrestling contests. That's not his game. He's like Dustin Fletcher, if you remember the Go-Go Gadget, using his height and timing of things. That's how he plays the game. And 93% disposal efficiency off of 92% game time. That is wonderful to see from Zack Reid. Lock him in, guys. Absolutely. Throw away the keys. Elijah Sardis, I know some people have been asking about him. Don't go there. His ball use is, again, I've told you, the biggest knock on Elijah Sardis at the moment is his ball use. It's still not where it needs to be, and it will improve over time. But for now, don't go near him as a starting selection, please, guys, please. Same thing with Colders. I know some people have asked what sort of role is he going to play. It's a bit of a nothing role, alternating between on the ball and half forwards. He's not, I don't know. For me, he's absolutely not a Supercoach selection. Don't go there. His ball use isn't the best either at times, so I wouldn't go with Jai Caldwell. So that is all of the relevant Essendon players. The ones I want to talk, the ones I spoke about glowingly, seriously consider. We move across to the victors, Geelong, who really just turned it up at the end of the game. Really, in the last quarter, they decided, oh crap, we can't lose here at Geelong. Us at home against the Bombers, we always win. And so they turned on the Jets in the last quarter to walk away with the dub. Congratulations to them. Max Holmes, my word, this guy was he was everything today for the Cats. He just was accumulating the ball at will. And it was a lot like what we saw last week against Carlton. His ball use was a lot more, again, I penciled that in due to being the first hit out, and that I expected that his ball use would improve. That it did. He had the 82% disposal efficiency today. And as I've said, halfback is historically have torched the Bombers in recent times, and it looked like it continued because Max Holmes, we just couldn't do anything to stop him. He was so good and alternated between on the ball and off halfback. He was sensational. Max Holmes. The only problem with him was he suffered an ankle injury getting run down, tackled by Sammy Durham on the wing. And so he was iced up at the end of the game. He said he's got 2 weeks to get over it, but one to really keep an eye on is how bad is that ankle? Is he going to hit the ground running? Because he is mid-only with that price. And you never know. Some people are saying that this is just a trap, a preseason trap, trying to get people to be sucked into it, and that the ankle injury probably bailed a lot of people out. I don't know. For me, what I was hearing was that he was playing off halfback. They need the speed. They need the run and gun. And he provided almost all of it. So he was sensational. I'm a believer of Max Holmes. I really am. I think he's the real deal. And that role is the real deal. And I just worry about that ankle now. I just worry about that ankle. If the ankle is fine, then I reckon he's a fine pick, but he doesn't play round 0, so we don't get to have a free look at it, unfortunately. And for that, I might end up not going with him, as annoying as it is. But someone who I am going to go for probably is this guy, Ollie Dempsey. My word, what a game he played. He was so impressive. So impressive. His marking ability was on full display. He was great at ground level. He kicked the goal. Oh, I loved everything about this guy. He is forward eligible. He's not overly expensive. Doesn't have the early buy. Oh, mate, Ollie Dempsey, I loved his game. I really did. I don't know. I reckon he might be worth the punt in the forward line, guys. I really think so. Especially if you guys, because I know we spoke about it in the Gold Coast review, Flanders versus Tuke Miller. I don't think you can have both with Sexton in that buy. You have to pick one or the other. You might decide, you know what, I'm going to go down from Flanders to get Ollie Dempsey in and have him fielded so that I can then get Tuke Miller in the midfield, who's obviously a little bit more expensive than him. So I think, honestly, Ollie Dempsey is worth the selection. I really do. And I have him in my team right now, as is Jai Clark. Jai Clark, penciled in Toto to be the next Joel Selwood, and he was wonderful. He really was. I loved the fact that he had 10 contested possessions. He was great in and under, was clean with the football. Yeah, they need this guy to play, and I think he will. He showed some great signs. Even reading the drop of the ball from stoppages really impressively. Just seeing the ball floating in the air, and you see him run with pace, just hits that ball as it drops and wheels away from the stoppage. He was very impressive. I love Jai Clark's game. I reckon everyone should have him in the side. But anyone worried about Tom Stewart, don't worry about him. He didn't even leave first gear. Like, not even leaving first gear. He was very good. In fact, he was getting pretty bored at one point with the fact that the Cats weren't playing very well in the beginning of the game. We were all over them, and he was like looking around like, come on, guys, get into the game. Let's do something. To the point where he drifted forward, had a nice intercept possession, and drilled a beautiful goal. So Tom Stewart, I would not be worried about him at all. Only the 68% time on ground. And nothing I saw today really concerned me. This guy is absolutely going to be a top 6 defender. Don't you worry about that. So Tommy Stewart, wonderful player. Don't be concerned. It was just classic Tom Stewart things. Zach Guthrie, Tanner Bruin. Nah, there really isn't anyone else. Obviously, there's Sean Manor, who came on very late in the piece. He's an interesting player. He definitely was a bit of an Energizer Bunny type of guy. Got involved in some play in the forward line, but I think he's fighting for the 23rd spot in the side. I think he's fighting to be that sub player. And for that reason, I'm not a big fan of the selection now out of the 117s. Definitely think if you're going to pick a 117k rookie, it's probably going to be Cooper Simpson. At this point in time, I think he's the one who showed that he's probably more likely to play. Sean Manor, I don't know. I don't think he's in that best 22. And some of the stuff that he did was pretty silly in terms of having the ball in his hands. His ball use was highly suspect. So I don't know. I don't know about Sean Manor. I'm personally not a big fan. If we're well and truly stuck and you're really strapped for cash, you can hope that he plays, but I wouldn't be putting all your bets on Sean Manor dominating and being a wonderful selection for us. That's all I'll say. So that is all of the players. Let me know, guys, in the comments down below, any player in particular that I haven't gone over today. I do think those were all the relevant options. Let me know if there's anyone else in particular you want my opinion on. Very happy to discuss. Bomber fans, definitely let me know if you're a lot more pleased with that. Hopefully, we don't see Jalen Laverde continue to play. I would much rather we give Lewis Hayes a crack before we give Laverde more of a chance. I don't know. It could be overly brutal on him, but his game today was just horrific, to be honest. I'd much rather play Lewis Hayes at this point, especially with Kane Baldwin out of the side. Guys, if you're new and you haven't subscribed already, please chuck us a sub. We'd greatly appreciate it. Hit the like button, get that algorithm going. This is probably the first of the videos that we've been able to pump it out right after the game. I think it's really important to get that out quickly as opposed to really mull it over. And then we move on to the next game currently going on, Port Adelaide and Fremantle. Of course, we will have that review out tonight as well. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Because remember, here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so that you don't have to.